No Other Choice is the rare type of film that spoils me. The quality of its writing and direction is so high it leaves the rest of the movie world in embarrassingly low depths, if you don't mind a little hyperbole. I could not hold myself from giving this masterpiece a directing analysis, but what makes it even more special is the fact that the direction works so well because it's enormously helped by the screenplay. This is one of the most perfect cases of writing and directing elevating each other, scene by scene, shot by shot, I've ever seen in modern cinema. So I'm gonna do something I seldom do, a double analysis of the screenplay and the direction. Let's see how the writing gives the camera a perfect playground, and how the camera breathes life into the words. I'll presume you have seen the movie, so word of warning, this video is full of spoilers. My only contextualizing will be this. The protagonist's name is Mansu, his wife is Miri. Now begin. The screenplay has two major strengths. It is insistently, obsessively visual, and every element in it has more than one purpose. Let's start with the visuals. Of all places, Mansu works in a paper factory, a place full of activity and color. Even his temporary job beneath him is in a lively place. His spirits-lifting unemployment exercise involves physical action and a repeated gesture that can be repeated across the picture. He and his wife could have any simple hobby, but it happens to be dancing, which is visually dynamic and easy to lead to jealousy. The second victim happens to work in a shoe store, a type of place full of mirrors ideal for spying. One of Mansu's major prides in his house is a swing he built, which can be used to add a little movement to dialogue scenes. These are little things, but they stack up, from Miri pulling her daughter away from the TV, to the first victim's wife's stupid but very visual technique to cure a snakebite. All these elements make the movie visual from beginning to end. Locations are energetic, characters don't stop moving and performing actions that keep your eyes busy. And that's all in the page. All the director needs to do is not screw up.
우리가 총애를 하시면 누가 쓸까요?
뭐?
Besides the cinematic nature of its locations and actions, the screenplay also thrives on making everything multi-purpose. Think about Mansu practicing his speech in the beginning.
넌 뭐하자?
What does this little scene do? First, it happens to be outside, allowing the director to show a bunch of activity happening around the characters. It introduces the subject of smoking,
담배 핀다고 이게 뭐야? 너 끊어라 좀.
which will be brought back, and Mansu's practice of writing on his hand, repeated throughout the film. There's even a moment when he decides to smoke just to have an excuse to read off his poem in secret. Think of Mansu's toothache, extremely inviting to symbolic interpretations. And when his wife needs to start working, what job does she take? Dental assistant, tying one subject to another. Suppose you are writing this screenplay, and your protagonist needs a pastime. What do you choose? It could be anything. Listening to classical music, playing golf, painting, fishing, reading. But the best answer is something that can help the plot. So Mansu's pastime is gardening. Not only because it's something visual, not only because it ties back to his paper profession, but because it's narratively helpful. It gives him the attire to not get bitten by snakes. It gives him the tools and means to kill and get rid of bodies. He's better at disposing of victims than doing bonsai. Even his first murderous impulse was by using a plant, leading to some creatively entertaining humiliation as dirty water drips on his brow. The movie goes through some great lengths to humiliate our protagonist, even having him walk and talk with a moving car. Back to murder. He takes the fruits from the pot of intrusive thoughts and uses them as his fictional company's name. His company he invented to commit murder, named after a potential murder weapon. I don't know what you call it when the physical and the abstract have their meanings combined, but I call it wit. Though No Other Choice has no repartee and raised pinkies, it is still an extremely witty movie.
다 죽여버려.
오케이, 다 죽었어.
All the way from the multi-purpose title, used repeatedly and carrying over 3 meanings,
Sorry, there's no other choice.
to the names of the family dogs, which are word plays with the names of the children. The smallest thing ties back to something else. If Mansu's son is gonna steal from someone, it's gonna be from the asshole introduced earlier in the film.
매트리스 좋네.
He hits on Miri.
그것도 팔아요. 사세요.
which serves two purposes. It shows that, indeed, he's an asshole, and later, when she needs something from him, she tries to play it sexual. Needless to say, her tactic is visual.
안 그래요?
The film makes a good case for knowing thy enemy. Mansu's first murder is a hilarious botched mess, so he learns to plan better. He knows the second victim has mechanical skills, using that knowledge as a trap. And the third victim is introduced right from the get-go as a drinking fan. I keep saying drinking is useful for films. That love for booze leads to his downfall. This movie is so obsessed with paying off setups that there comes a moment when practically every scene is a reflection of a previous one. It ends with him back to work, minus everyone else. Before that, it's a garden scene minus the visual joy from the start. Before that, an interrogation minus the danger of the first time. Before that, a job interview minus failure. It's beautifully symmetrical. The repetition of lines is a repeated joke. We're told it's a characteristic of his daughter. But Mansu also brings back home some lines he picked up while stalking his target, hilariously out of context.
살무사한테 뽕님 먹으라고 먹고 살라고 그래 안 그래?
The most innocuous throwaway lines are suddenly funny when they become callbacks.
그럼 살모사인데 어미도 잡아먹는다는?
살무사 엄마를 먹고 살게 돼 있다고.
And since the first victim is Mansu's shadow version, similar to him in every way, but worse in every way, a couple lines from his wife are eerily brought back by Miri, who never even heard them.
재취업해봤자 끼케 6, 7년이면 정년인데 그 다음엔? 100세 시대에? 100살까지 산다잖아. 안 늦었어.
Let me go off on a bit of a tangent. I've always believed one of the most brilliant uses of messaging in a movie was in Bicycle Thieves, when the poor family needs to sell their prized bed sheets for money. And to store it away, the pawn shop worker must climb a mountain of bed sheets. Societal woes are implied visually, without the need of a single speech. No Other Choices ending has that same skill for visual succinctness. Mansu ends up the only human worker in a fully automatized factory. Practically, he's now a babysitter for robots. No preaching, no news reports about unemployment epidemics, just our story drawing to a close with everything else available to be inferred. I remember when I first saw the movie's trailer. This shot got me seriously worried. It felt like the cheapest kind of Ilemidam. Everybody look at me, I'm directing a movie. Style for the sake of showing off. Though Park Chan-wook went needlessly over the top in his early career, he only improved with time, and I shouldn't have doubted him. No Other Choice is stylishly directed, but that style enhances the story, never stealing attention from it. That shot is so bizarre because the movie spent 2 hours up to that point, making it a point that Mansu must never drink, so when it finally happens, the director gives it the importance it has earned. Unlike most stylish directors, Park Chan-wook uses style to tell information, not only to show off. When Miri is dancing with her boss, we get one of those arcing camera motions that are usually done just for energy. But this one is used to include Mansu watching, ignored, and to end the shot over his forlorn shoulder. Likewise, we get this very low angle of the third victim. It could be just to give the viewer a jolt, but in this case, we happen to know Mansu's location up above, leading this angle to generate expectation, which is paid off when his improvised murder weapon enters the frame. Park has the luxury to shoot such an unusual angle because his screenplay created a situation featuring differences in height, and because his direction seconds before made that difference perfectly clear. As a matter of fact, the film's sense of space is exemplary. With encompassing wide frames, the world of the movie is presented in full. The camera often flies up and to the side to map out locations and reveal characters' positions and spatial relations. Once even showing 2 time periods at once. The camera doesn't even need to move. Simply cutting from one wide to another can map out the location just as well. The commercial-like opening makes sure to repeatedly include the dog houses in these wide frames, a place that will soon be used by the girl to mope. When you're watching a scene, cutting from one wide informative angle to the next, you're not only taking in the story, you are also learning the layout of the location, so that when it comes back to play, you're never lost. While most movies love pushing in, no other choice prefers to pull back. It's normal to find the camera aiming at one or two characters, then it pulls back to include someone new in the frame. Or it can go from location to character. And why not both?
이거 파세요.
This memorable shot flies away from the first victim's house to find Mansu. Then it flies up to catch the world's weirdest hissy fit. That spatial clarity I talked about. Another favorite type of camera movement is this orbiting motion, usually on close-ups. It's repeatedly used to emphasize a line or action, or to add more information. This shot of Miri checking bills moves to include the sun. Then we cut to Mansu's terrible first interview. This scene is visually remarkable for having the sun shining on his face. This aspect could have been a decision from the screenplay. That's what I thought at first. But no, the sun being weaponized against the protagonist is not in the script. It's a directorial decision. It means Park Chan-wook took this scene that wasn't visual enough on paper, and made it visual on screen. On the opposite end, when Mansu and Miri fight, he talks about metaphorically shooting someone. When he pulls his imaginary trigger, the lights turn on. I was sure it was a directorial punctuation, especially because Park did a few neat little punctuations across the film. But no, that light is in the screenplay. I love it when you can't tell if a nice detail came from the page or from the direction. It means those two are working in such perfect sync they complement each other seamlessly. Synergy! Check this shot. The asshole steals the camera from the women and takes it to the piano. He takes it back to the women, but we keep going forward. The frame excludes him to center on the Pulp Man of the Year award, which will be used as a weapon later on. Then it goes up to find the handgun. Even if you don't know the story of the film you're watching, this moment is telegraphing that this dangerous thing will soon come into play. Not only that, now we know the exact geographical spot where this highly specific gun is located in the house. So when the police come to interrogate, not only does the director block the scene like the job interview, but he also positions the unknowing wife in the back, next to the gun. When it's mentioned, she stands up.
총이요. 권총. 북한제.
An action done likely out of shock, likely to cover the incriminating object, definitely for both. The screenplay gives every element more than one purpose, and the direction does exactly the same thing. Take this perfect shot. Mansu's close-up, then we pull back, as I said was common, to find Miri. The new angle shows the cops outside. After Miri leaves, Mansu turns to look out the window, revealing to us incriminating evidence. The window, the couch, the cop's position, Mansu's movement, they all serve the camera, which needs to do very little to get as much information as possible. It goes to show how Park's direction is much more than eye-popping angles and motions. He also knows how to position actors, objects, apertures so they help the camera, staging and composition. Like these two mirrors, one to watch the future victim going, the other to catch Mansu coming. This pullback includes the children and the stairs in the back. That's exactly where the children are going. Mansu guides the camera on a crab-like walk to join his son, including Miri in the background. Ironically, she's excluded from the conversation. Park's blocking makes frequent use of depth. But not only that, and I've been holding myself for long enough on this subject, time to say it. In case you're learning something, seriously consider joining my Patreon. It's absolutely the best way to keep such videos going. You'll get early access to every video, you'll watch a Munich directing analysis that got blocked on YouTube, and there's no chance I'll miss a comment. Liking and subscribing also helps. What was I talking about again? Oh right! Park stages his scenes with depth, and he fills up that scope frame of his like a genius. His 2-3-9-1 compositions are perfection. Even the most mundane domestic moments receive the horizontal treatment, spreading objects and actors across the frame for maximum efficiency. Look at this, a perfect, spacious, strong frame. Now look at the next shot, another one from 90 degrees to the side. The first composition has the frame filled from TV to Mansu, from couch and carpet to lamp. The second one fills the frame from plants to couch arm, from girl to phone. Every element here had to be organized to serve two completely distinct angles, even the height of Mansu's arms. The first two murders end on similar wide frames, rich in nature, beautifully split in two halves. Mansu's alcoholic temptation is also framed in split frames. Lest I forget, the film has some of the most creative uses of rack focus I've ever seen. Sometimes one of the layers is so indistinct we don't even know what's there until focus has been pulled.
칵테일 드시겠습니까?
Our eyes are so centered on Miri dancing with her boss that it's easy to miss the unfocused waitress entering the frame. There's a sleight of hand worthy of a magician. Remember when the police come, there are at least 3 clues that Mansu is guilty, but the cops have come for his son and completely ignore all the incriminating evidence around them. That's exactly what this shot does. Your eyes are so obviously focused here that the simplest focus pull creates a surprise. Why don't horror films do this type of thing all the time?
칵테일 드시겠습니까?
By now it's clear enough how special No Other Choice is. The type of absolute cinema that raises the bar for the movie world and is rarely matched. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.